I'm not going to lie to you. When I first started playing Strikers Club, I was the type of player who thought the game was just about running to the ball and shooting for the goal. I lost match after match and got frustrated, blaming the game, blaming the connection, blaming everything except my own skills. Until one day, I stopped, took a breath, and started paying attention to the little things. The way the players moved, the recovery time after each action, that exact moment when the opponent becomes vulnerable and you don't even notice. And that is exactly what I want to share with you today. 10 tips that aren't in any tutorial, which I had to learn the hard way, making plenty of mistakes, just to reach a decent level in the game. If you're tired of being that player who always ends the match with more losses than wins, pay attention, because what comes next could completely change how you play. I'm Matthew, and the video starts now. I discovered this tip the hard way. By conceding goal after goal from a goalkeeper who seemed to read my mind, I would aim for the corner, shoot with confidence, and the guy was already there before the ball even left my foot. I swore it was luck, that he was guessing, until I noticed something obvious I had ignored the whole time. The camera gives everything away. Every movement you make with your aim, the goalkeeper on the other side is seeing, and if they are experienced, they already know exactly where you are going to shoot before you even press the button. That's when I started testing a totally different approach. Aim for one corner, let the goalkeeper get into position, and at the last millisecond, shift the aim to the other side, preferably into the bottom corners. The first time I did this in a 1v1, I almost couldn't believe it. The keeper had already committed to the wrong side, and the ball went in slow, low into the opposite corner. It almost looked like the game had bugged out. But no, it was just pure game reading. The secret here is understanding how Strikers Club works when it comes to shooting. The camera defines the target, and your input defines the power and direction. So what you do is use that to your advantage. Show the goalkeeper you're going one way, let them fall into the anticipation trap, and when they are already committed, change the aim on the very last frame possible. The bottom corners are especially effective because the keeper needs more time to get down, and in this game, every frame counts. I use this absurdly well against keepers who stay in anticipation stance, those who have clearly studied your shooting pattern. Against players like that, changing your aim at the last moment isn't just a tactic, it's a statement. You're basically saying, I know you're reading me, but I'm one step ahead. After I started applying this, my success rate in 1v1s changed completely, and the goalkeepers who once seemed unbeatable started looking human again. Chaining skill moves looks amazing when you see them in clips, but the reality is that this only works when you have real space to work with. Each playstyle has its arsenal. The generalist with that rainbow flick, step over and roulette combo is the flashiest. The maestro with the sombrero flick is more elegant, and the phantom with fake shots and la croqueta is pure poison for those who like to finish plays. But the problem isn't knowing the moves, it's knowing when not to use them. I fell into this trap several times while testing the early access. You see that nice space, start chaining 3-4 feints in a row, feeling like the Neymar of the moment, and suddenly 2 defenders close in and the collision physics simply steals the ball from you without even a challenge prompt. It's frustrating because it seems unfair, but it's not. It's the game teaching you that this isn't a highlight simulator, it's a real-time decision game. The golden tip here is to read the moment when the second defender starts approaching. The instant you realize it's going to be a 2v1, forget the next skill move and release the ball immediately. This isn't giving up on the play. It's creating a new passing angle the defenders didn't expect, because they were closing space thinking you were going to keep trying to dribble. Release it quickly and suddenly you have a teammate open, or at least you avoid losing possession in an ugly way. At the end of the day, Strikers Club rewards patience disguised as daring. You need to look confident on the ball, but inside you should always be calculating, do I have space or not? If the answer is no, pass the ball, resolve it quickly, and put your ego aside. It's this type of reading that separates those who stay stuck in early access matches complaining about physics from those who are already playing a step ahead, understanding the system. Do you know that feeling where the ball seems to have a physics of its own and decides to escape at the worst possible moment? I went through that in my first hours of playing. The temptation is to hold the WASD keys or the analog stick to the max all the time, as if more input speed equals more control, but the game actually punishes you exactly for that. The learning curve here is to understand that less is more. The lighter your touch on the direction, the more the ball respects your personal space in tight turns. The tip that changed my gameplay was starting to use feathered inputs. That is, light and precise touches. Think of your thumb or your fingers on the keyboard as if they were giving steering instructions, not blunt orders. Micro adjustments on the analog stick or quick taps on the keys keep the ball glued to your feet when you make tight turns or need to stop on a dime to trick a marker. It's almost as if the game has a hidden layer of fine control that only appears when you stop forcing the issue. Now, it's not that long touches are useless, they have a very specific purpose. And that's where tactical intelligence comes in. When you receive a pass in open space and need to explode toward the goal, that's when you hold the input firmly. The trick is knowing how to alternate. Light touches for one-on-ones and technical adjustments. Long touches to accelerate the offensive transition. It's like shifting gears in a race car. Using the same speed for everything just makes you spin out. If you really want to internalize this, don't go straight to ranked matches. Get into free play and practice tight circles around makeshift cones, alternating with sharp 90-degree cuts. Do this until the movement is in your muscle memory, not in your head. It takes about 15 minutes, but when you go back online, you'll feel like the character has actually started listening to you. I spent a lot of time playing as a goalkeeper, thinking the secret was having quick reflexes and jumping to the right side at the right time. I conceded ridiculous goals, low balls sliding into the corner while I was already in the air, jumping to a side that made no sense. I felt like a Sunday league keeper, with no response to anything, until I stopped to study what experienced goalkeepers did differently. And then I saw something that changed everything. They almost never jumped first. They stayed crouched, quiet, waiting. It was the anticipation stance, and I didn't even know it existed. The control button, LT or L2 on a controller, is your best friend here. When you hold this button before jumping, you access the K stance, that posture with a knee on the ground that gives you access to low saves and split saves. It might seem like a small thing, but trust me, the difference between jumping straight and coming out of the anticipation stance is massive. The split saves alone are worth the effort of learning the mechanic because they cover that low corner that was previously a guaranteed goal against you. The advanced tip here is simple but completely changed my game. Stay in anticipation stance whenever the striker is finishing, always. It doesn't matter if they are close or far, if it's a 1v1 or a cross. If you hold this posture, you will have quick access to low saves, which is exactly where most shots will end up. I know it's scary to stay still while the striker runs toward you, but that's where reading the game comes in. And here's a detail that stopped me from conceding silly goals. Combine the anticipation stance with reading the striker's camera. Players almost always aim for the low corners when you are in stance because they think they will surprise you down low. But if you're already in the right posture, the joke is on them. I started noticing the pattern. Striker approaches, aims for a low corner, and I'm already there with my hand on the ground waiting. When you start saving what used to be a certain goal, you understand that being a goalkeeper in Strikers Club isn't about reflexes. It's about positioning and reading. The idea is that the camera isn't just aesthetic. It actually reveals the striker's intention even before the shot happens. If you are playing as a goalkeeper and just keep looking at the ball or the player's body, you are already a step behind, because the real information is in how the camera positions itself in the frames leading up to the finish. Playing as a keeper, I started to notice a very specific pattern. When the camera locks onto a corner and stays there still, it's usually because the striker has already decided to side and is just waiting for the right timing to shoot. This is pure gold for whoever is defending, because it gives you an early read without needing to guess. On the other hand, when the camera keeps moving, adjusting until the very last instant before the shot, that's a sign that the player is still deciding, or even worse for you as a goalkeeper, is preparing a camera feint to trick you. And that's exactly where the thing turns into an interesting cat and mouse game, because as a striker, you can use that same behavior to your advantage. If you know the keeper is also watching your camera, start manipulating it, lock the camera on one corner on purpose, let the keeper commit to that side, and at the last millisecond, change the shot direction. It's basically a visual bluff, and it works very well against players who still don't know this tell exists. What I find coolest about this mechanic is that it turns every penalty duel or finish into a real mental battle, not just one of reflexes. It's not about who presses the button faster, it's about who reads the other's behavior better and who can lie better with their own camera. If you are just starting out in early access, I recommend spending some time just watching replays of your own finishes and the shots you faced as a goalkeeper. You will start to notice these patterns quickly, and that will elevate your game level far beyond those who are just on autopilot. You know that feeling in 11 versus 11 when the ball reaches your feet and your brain screams, "Now is my time to shine"? I've fallen into this trap dozens of times. I get the ball, try to dribble past 3 guys at once, lose possession, and I'm still left with that "it almost worked" taste. But here is the truth that Strikers Club slams in your face after a few matches. This game doesn't reward movie heroes, it rewards teams that breathe together. The more you try to carry alone, the more the physics seems to work against you, and the ball disappears in the middle of the confusion. The secret is to force your mind to think of one more pass, that extra pass that nobody expects, but that everyone should make. I realize that when I release the ball one touch earlier than my instinct tells me, the scoring chance that follows is of a different quality. It's as if the game opens a secret door in the opposing defense. That play of passing to the side, or even backward, which seems boring, actually dismantles the other team's positioning like falling dominoes. The finish that comes after a quick pass and a first-time touch is almost always cleaner than the desperate shot after a risky dribble. Now, this doesn't mean you should leave skill moves on the ground. On the contrary, they are absurdly useful, but with a different function than what most people use. Instead of trying to get past the marker with a step over or an elastico, use the technical movement to create the passing angle. Think of it this way. The dribble is just the means, the pass is the end. You make a small body feint, open a half-second window, and in that gap, release the ball to someone in a better position. The skill move becomes a construction tool, not a display one, and that completely changes how the defense reacts to you. In the next 11v11 match, do a mental test. Before receiving the ball, decide the first option is to pass. If there isn't one, then you think about dribbling. It will hurt your ego at first, because no one likes giving up on trying to be the protagonist. But when you feel the whole team rotating around your movement, and when that assist of yours turns into a goal through team play, you will understand. Strikers Club is in early access, but this team play mechanic already feels like the soul of the game. And trust me, passing more doesn't make you less skilled. It just makes you the player everyone wants on their team. I lost count of how many goals I conceded because I stood still after a shot or a save, waiting for my player to automatically go after the ball. You know that I've already done my part, now the game will figure it out feeling? Forget it. In Strikers Club, that simply doesn't exist. I used to watch the ball hit the keeper, bounce forward, and the opponent would get there first and push it into the net while my player was standing there still, as if nothing had happened. I would curse the game, think it was a bug, until I realized the problem was me. The truth is that rebounds in this game are 100% manual. There is no automatic pursuit, there is no invisible helper that makes your player run after the ball by themselves. If you don't tell them to go, they won't. It seems obvious now that I say it, but you have no idea how many matches I lost until this dawned on me. The game gives you all the tools, but it doesn't do the work for you. And that is exactly where most players fall behind. The advanced tip is simple but requires completely changing your mindset. After shooting or defending, press sprint immediately and run to the ball. Don't think, don't wait, don't evaluate the situation first. Press sprint and go. I started doing this almost obsessively, and the results appeared quickly. Balls that were previously lost rebounds became real goal opportunities because I got there before everyone else. The striker shoots, the keeper palms it, and if you are already running, the ball is there in front of you waiting to be pushed in. Many goals come from second rebounds that no one went after, and that is the main point. While most players are celebrating the shot or complaining about the defense, you are already at the ball. I started scoring ugly goals, the ones that don't appear in highlights, but count just the same on the scoreboard. And the best part? After you do this 3 times in the same match, the opponent realizes that you are always one step ahead on rebounds, and that alone changes the way they play against you. They start to be afraid of shooting, because they know that if the keeper makes a save, the ball is yours. After the update, penalties in Strikers Club basically turned into a minigame inside the game, and you can no longer treat them as something automatic. Now you have to deal with run-up timing and aim charging at the same time, and that completely changes how you approach the kick. It's not just choosing a side and pressing the button, it's about rhythm, reading, and most importantly, emotional control when finishing. What caught my attention the most is how the most experienced keepers started reading the striker's body and the direction of the run-up. If you always run the same way or define your aim too early, you practically give away the shot before you take it. I realized this in practice. The more predictable my run, the easier it was for the keeper to react without even needing to guess. That's why the tip to practice in free play or custom matches isn't just a basic recommendation. It's truly essential. That's where you will understand the right time to charge the aim without committing too early. And more importantly, it's where you can practice changing direction in the middle of the run without losing precision, which is the type of thing that completely breaks the keeper's reading. Now, the detail that really makes a difference is using the fake at the last moment. When you threaten a finish and hold for an instant, you force the keeper to make a decision before the right time. And in this game, whoever commits first usually loses. So mastering penalties here isn't just technique, it's knowing how to manipulate the timing of the play and the opponent's expectation, almost like a psychological duel in slow motion. That impulse to press the tackle button the exact moment the guy touches the ball feels instinctive, but in Strikers Club, it's basically an invitation to get slammed. The defense in this game punishes those who want to solve everything with brute force. You lunge, miss by a centimeter, and the striker has already exploded into the space you just opened up. It's frustrating because the intention is good, but the result is always the same. The turning point for me was starting to use Jockey Mode, the one you hold with Ctrl. Instead of running after the striker as if it were a 100-meter dash, you get into a lower posture, focus on the ball, and use your body to block paths. The feeling is completely different. Suddenly, you are no longer reacting to the striker, you are anticipating. The ball sticks more in your field of vision, and your movements become more controlled, less desperate. It's like switching an out-of-control car for one that actually responds to the steering wheel. Here is the trick that separates an average defender from one who truly scares the offense. Use Jockey Mode to direct the play, not to stop the guy right away. When you hold control, think about forcing the striker toward the touchline, where the crossing angle becomes bad, or toward the middle, where your teammate defensive midfielder or center back can make that tackle. The temptation to go for the desperate tackle still exists, but you need to swallow it. The best defenders I faced in early access are not the ones who press the tackle button the most. They are the ones who stay in front, invisible, until the striker realizes they have nowhere left to go. Changing this mentality hurts at first because we want to see action. We want to feel like we are doing something. But trust me, when you stop spamming the tackle and start using positioning as a weapon, defending becomes another sport. In the next game, try holding control before even thinking about pressing any other button. Let the striker feel comfortable for a second, just so they realize their comfort ended when they hit the wall you built. In Strikers Club, defending well is an art, and Jockey Mode is the brush. If there's one thing that many people ignore in Strikers Club, it's the real value of the community center and free play before jumping into ranked. It seems basic, but it's not just about practicing a little. It's about simulating specific situations until they become automatic. This game severely punishes mechanical errors and slow decision-making, so jumping straight into competitive mode without this preparation is practically asking to suffer. One of the things that worked best for me was practicing dribbling sequences with finishes, as if it were a real play and not just loose movements. It's no use knowing how to do a nice dribble if you can't convert that into a shot right afterward. When you repeat this cycle several times in free play, it starts to come naturally, and in the middle of a match, you don't even think, you just execute. Another practice that completely changes your level is playing 1v1 against friends, alternating between striker and goalkeeper. This gives you a dual view of the game. You start to understand what tricks the keeper and, at the same time, what gives the striker away. Not to mention that practicing playing out from the back with the keeper, completing passes under pressure, avoids those silly giveaways that cost goals in ranked. And perhaps most importantly, test the playstyles until you find what really fits you. The Generalist is the most balanced for starting out and understanding the game, but depending on your style, Maestro or Phantom might yield much more. The point here is not to copy what seems strong, but to discover what you execute best consistently. Because in the end, ranked doesn't reward those who know more tricks. It rewards those who make fewer mistakes.